Stop scrolling for just a second and look at that notification you ignored on your trading app this morning. You know the one, that flash of green light that made your heart skip a beat. January 2026 didn't feel like a new year. It felt like a market mirage. Gold at $5,000 an ounce, silver smashing through $100 like it was tissue paper. It felt easy, didn't it? Like gravity had finally stopped working for your portfolio. For 3 weeks, we lived in a fantasy. People were buying cars with coins they found in their attic. The news anchors were shouting record highs until their voices cracked. We call this the decoupling. It's the moment when the market stops looking at the economy and starts looking at its own reflection, drunk on greed. It was a party where everyone thought they were the VIP guest. But here's the cold truth about parties. Someone always has to pay the tab. And then, the lights went out. If you are holding that digital gold right now, feeling smart, you might want to sit down. Because what happened next wasn't a market correction, it was an execution. Before you click away thinking this is just another doom scroll, ask yourself, why did the price drop exactly when he walked in? This video isn't about the price going up. It's about why the floor just fell out. Hit subscribe because we are about to open the body bag of the 2026 economy. January 30th, 2026. A date that will be tattooed on the forehead of every day trader. One name changed the physics of the market. Kevin Warsh. The moment his nomination for Fed chair hit the wires, the trap snapped shut. Gold didn't just dip, it plummeted nearly 10% in a single day. That is the steepest drop since 1983. Imagine holding a heavy bar of gold, and suddenly it turns into lead in your hands. Silver? Even worse. It crashed 31% before lunch. Why? Because Warsh isn't here to print money. He is here to burn it. The market realized instantly that the free money era was being strangled. But here's the question that should keep you awake tonight. Was this a panic selling or a coordinated raid? But here is where the story gets twisted. Everyone panicked because of one man, Kevin Warsh. But let me ask you, can one man stop a tsunami with a plastic bucket? The crash was a reaction to a face. The rally to $5,000 was a reaction to the math. We are looking at a phenomenon called fiscal dominance. It sounds boring, I know, but think of it this way. The U.S. government is currently addicted to debt like a junkie to a needle. They owe so much money that raising rates actually bankrupts them faster. That pile of debt is a towering inferno, and investors are just looking for the nearest fire exit. J.P. Morgan calls this structural diversification. I call it running for your life. You see, the crash was the illusion. The debt is the reality. And the debt machine didn't turn off just because a hawk walked into the building. While the U.S. is drowning in red ink, the rest of the world is filing for divorce. We are witnessing the vaporization of trust. It is not just a fancy economic term, it is a global crime scene. Think about it. A 100% tariff on Canada? Friends are becoming strangers overnight. Central banks are not buying gold because they like shiny rocks. They are buying it because they are terrified of the dollar. Global reserves held in dollars have dropped to 58%. Imagine, trust is like water in a reservoir. Right now, the heat of geopolitics is evaporating it. And when all the water is gone, what is left at the bottom? Gold. Hard, cold, and the only thing that doesn't need a politician's signature to have value. But wait until you see who is actually buying it all. It is not just the tinfoil hat brigade anymore. The men in the expensive suits, J.P. Morgan, Wells Fargo, they are whispering numbers that would have sounded insane 5 years ago. $6,300. Why? Are they suddenly in love with a shiny rock? No. They are betting against the paper in your wallet. We call this rebasing. Think of it like this. The gold bar hasn't changed size. It hasn't become tastier. It is simply that the ruler we use to measure it, the dollar, is shrinking. It takes more tiny dollars to cover the same inch of gold. And here is the scary math. Household allocation is moving from 3% to 4.6%. That sounds small, like a rounding error, doesn't it? But in a market this tight, that is not a ripple. That is a tsunami. It is like 300 people suddenly trying to squeeze through a door built for one. The banks aren't predicting a gold bubble. They are predicting a currency collapse. And they are positioning themselves before the exit gets jammed. But while gold sits in a dark vault doing absolutely nothing, its poorer cousin is out there working a double shift. Silver. We call it gold with a job. It is in your smartphone, your solar panel, and inside that new electric vehicle parked down the street. 116 million EVs are hitting the road in 2026. Do you know what that actually looks like? It looks like a giant vacuum cleaner sucking silver out of the ground faster than we can dig it up. The industry calls this the triple transition: green energy, digital, auto. I call it a supply suicide mission. They are trying to use less of it. Thrifting, they say, trying to spread the butter thinner on the toast. But you can't cheat physics. High tech needs high performance. The industrial beast is starving, and right now, we are feeding it the family silverware. But if you think the price crash means there is plenty of silver left, you are looking at the wrong map. The real disappearance is happening somewhere else entirely. Here is the ghost story that the algorithms are missing. While you are staring at red charts in New York, something bizarre is happening in Shanghai. The vaults are emptying. Since 2021, silver inventory on the Shanghai Futures Exchange has dropped by 88%. Think about that number. That is like walking into a massive warehouse club and finding only a single dented can of beans left on the shelf. We call this domestic tightness. It means the paper price says the metal is worthless, but the physical metal is saying, I am gone. The West is busy trading digital receipts, panic selling the idea of silver. Meanwhile, the East is quietly backing up the truck and taking the actual bars. It is a magic trick. The price goes down, but the silver disappears. So, who is the fool here? The one selling the paper, or the one hoarding the metal? And if you think we can just dig our way out of this hole, think again. Nature is the ultimate stubborn landlord. Silver mine production is up a pathetic 1%. Why? Because 72% of silver comes out of the ground by accident. It is a byproduct of digging for zinc, lead, or gold. Imagine trying to order a side of fries, but the kitchen only makes them if someone orders a steak. If nobody wants the steak, you do not get your fries, no matter how much cash you wave at the waiter. That is inelasticity. We are squeezing a dry lemon. The price can go to the moon, but the geology simply does not care. We have built a high-tech civilization dependent on a metal we cannot print, cannot easily find, and are running out of fast. But maybe you think gold is just a boomer rock. Heavy, hard to move, sitting in a dusty safe. That was yesterday. Welcome to the era of programmable gold. Imagine taking a solid gold bar and dissolving it into the internet. Tokens like Tether Gold and Pax Gold aren't just digital receipts, they are liquid truth. We are looking at a market potential of $3 trillion. It is the bridge between the ancient and the futuristic. You can now text a gram of gold to a friend across the ocean as easily as sending an emoji. The younger generation isn't buying coins to bury in the backyard. They are buying code that is backed by the vault. Gold has finally upgraded its operating system, and it is running on a network that never sleeps. So, Where do we stand after the bloodbath? Is the party over, or was this just the intermission? Look at the charts without the emotion. The crash to $64 for silver wasn't a funeral. It was a floor. We call this a technical check. The market is taking a deep breath before the next sprint. Gold found a concrete foundation at $4,400. These aren't random numbers. They are battle lines drawn by institutions. The ascending broadening wedge pattern suggests we are simply coiling the spring tighter. Smart money doesn't buy the spike, they buy the panic. They waited for you to sell so they could step in at the bottom. The trend hasn't broken. It has just shaken off the weak hands. 2026 has already taught us a brutal lesson. The Warsh Shock was painful, but it was just noise in a much larger signal. We are living through a great re-rating. It is not that gold is becoming more expensive, it is that your paper money is becoming worthless. The dollar is a melting ice cube, and gold is the glass. The evaporation of trust, the physical scarcity of silver, the digital evolution, these are not temporary trends. They are the new gravity. The price on your screen is just a number. The value in your hand is the reality. The question isn't whether gold will go up. The question is, when the dust settles, what will your money actually buy? The re-rating has only just begun.